we're here today in a place that used to be voted as one of the best places to live in Ireland. But what's number one is the other place we went, Waterford. Video over there, you can click that. Where are we today?
Today we are in Rathmines, one of the quintessential Southside neighbourhoods.
Lol, see how I forgot about the height difference there?
So Rathmines is one of the neighbourhoods just south of the city centre. I say neighbourhood, but it's actually village. It used to be its proper independent village for the longest time, and now it's just almost like an inner, close to the city centre suburb, but definitely very Southsidey. We used to actually live quite close, but somehow we never quite made it past the canal because I felt that was too much Southside to venture down on. You can see at heart we've always been Northsiders, just intimidated by anything remotely Southside. So today we thought we'll finally come and venture deep into this, not even that deep into the south, but into Rathmines, which kind of represents a lot of what you expect when you think about the south side.
So if you're not from Dublin, you're probably wondering what is this north side, south side thing the wine just said. Basically, it's all about income brackets. It's mostly said that the north, you would have people from lower income brackets, so the neighbourhoods aren't as posh looking. So the south side has a reputation of being posh. Of course, none of this is exactly true. Everywhere in the city, you have different people of different income groups and different housing styles. It's mostly based on where in history these houses were built.
So one of our most important features of any neighbourhood we review is the green spaces, and that is the one thing where Rathmines is lacking a bit. Gotta say, I do love this park, Belgrave Square. It looks like one of those that used to be just for the houses around it, so very probably expensive houses around this square historically and now. But it's a really lovely park. You've got lots of birds in the background. But other than that, you've pretty much got the Grand Canal, which is also lovely, but there isn't all too much green spaces in the area, which I suppose makes sense historically since it used to be a village surrounded by green spaces. No one thought that hard about building them into the historical housing stock. One thing, however, that is very convenient about Rathmines is the public transport. There is buses left and right going all kinds of places, something we've been quite missing from the area we live in, and definitely an advantage here, other than the fact that it's also very easy to simply walk into the city centre. So most of Rathmines is located along the main road, which is almost like its own proper village main street.
It's been quite a while since I came down and looked at this main road. And you can tell it's a main road. I would dare almost call it a high street. It is a hive of activity. Even today on a Sunday, it is just full of people. Forget the rain. Rain does not keep people out here. Everyone was out. What's on the streets?
So the interesting thing as well is, apart from, some of your usual shops that you would have elsewhere, is there's a lot of independent shops, like independent grocers, also a lot of international food places like Asian specialty foods and like very specialty niche sort of independent shops. Not that many, like I almost hesitated to say high street because there aren't the usual high street brands. It's very unique, lots of charity shops as well, so if you're looking for something more unique, I suppose this is the place to come and do your shopping.
Yeah, as the wine said, it is a little town kind of setup. Yeah, I've passed, of course, some of the pastry shops, coffee shops. It did
all
have
of the rum's priorities, coffee and cake.
Yes, Kaffee und Kuchen. But yeah, I think I'm a bit of a hipster. At least that's what this town kind of feels like. I think when we came, we did hear that it was some sort of Hipsterville. I think it still has that kind of vibe, but also kind of very family oriented as well.
Yeah, and like also a foodie area. That's what it's also known for, and it makes sense with the proximity to Camden Street and other places of the city centre. Like the Rathmines High Street, if you will, continues almost straight into the city centre, where it just continues with more shops and more food places. But what's surprising about the food places is how international the cuisines are. You can get your Mexican, Middle Eastern, Japanese, Korean, almost like any cuisine you think of it, you'll find it on this road.
Side streets or corners. I'm talking about in the direct straight road, you can find it all there. We just had some lunch there. Quite simple. Irish kind of lunch there. But yeah, if you were here for longer, you'd definitely sample some more of the foods here.
The only thing we notice, which is, I guess, where we arrive now at is it that Southside, as we claim, is the prices of the food. We did look at a whole bunch of restaurants walking past, and like, first of all, they're all not all, but most of them are pretty small, especially the cafes. And with how busy it is, it can get quite hard to find a space without reserving first. But also the price tags, they are definitely higher than what we're used to on the north side.
Now I'm here to talk about the amenities. Walking around a place is all good, but like today, when it's pouring, what do you do besides walking outside? I did mention earlier that we have a shopping mall, and besides the shopping mall, we also have a cinema. You know, this is such a privilege to have like a cinema right by. We were going to watch Dune 2 here, but guess what? Sunday afternoon, it's all booked out. People actually use the amenities. Right here we're in a park, and I'm looking at the maps. I know there's different things. We have our playing fields. There's 2 kids over there playing, what's the name? Curling, right? Curling, yes. Is it curling?
I think it's hurling.
Hurling. Sorry, curling is the other sport. I'm sorry, I don't watch sports. You can see that. But yes. Yeah, they're heading the ball back and forth, so I'm not going to show them because those are kids. We can hear the ball in the background. Back to the point, amenities. For what I can see, we've got lots of families out here, and of course, there is stuff to do. We just showed you a beautiful play park. No, I ain't seen a play park like this in a long time. This is like an amusement park. I went back to being about 5, 6, even to 10 years old, thinking, yeah, that's a pirate ship. I'm gonna date myself, but you know, I'd be fully doing the Titanic arms outstretched thing on that if I was a kid.
So here we have our last few of Rathmines before we head back into the city. It's definitely a very surprisingly nice suburb to even just walk around. It has that village feel, and it's also fun to just meander down some of the side streets of the main street, since a lot of the streets also lead back to the main street anyways. You can't really get lost, even though for me personally a lot of the houses just look the same and I did very much get lost. But we found our way back to the main street, no problem, and the side streets do offer an interesting insight into where it feels the true poshness of the neighbourhood lies, as the buildings get definitely a lot more mansion-like, and suddenly you're like, will this cost $1 million? It's probably more like 5 million. And you also notice the cars looking quite expensive with their Land Rover and other tall cars. And even just hearing the locals walk past, the accent is definitely quite a bit posher sounding.
We wish we could have stayed longer, but the rain chased us away. Rathmines is a charming village with its period architecture and busy main street. We like the idea of heading to a main street for a movie, shopping, a cake, and then nipping back home to a cozy but probably not so small house on a wet spring day. For our next video, we'll be heading back to the south side for one of Dublin's most picturesque walks along the Dodder River. Subscribe to make sure you're around to see it, and in the meanwhile, check out more of our neighbourhood reviews of best places to live.